What up, what up? Back with another episode of the Conversation to Be Had podcast. Thank you for joining us, folks. We host Charlo. Back at you again. Today we're going to talk about mental health. And the past few episodes, it's kind of been the end result of a lot of the stuff that we've talked about. As far as the violence of the kids in Chicago, the last podcast we did on cyberbullying. That's a lot of these issues are the result of mental health. So we're going to explore that a little bit, get into some areas of mental health as much as we can, because there's not much like the cyberbullying. There's not much on it. Don't bring the guys in.
Hey,
What's up, Sean?
what's going on with you,
What's on that
Charlo?
still?
Yo,
What's up?
man. What's up, fellas? What's up, YouTube?
Right. We're gonna talk about mental health today, guys. Like I was telling the audience, a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about is kind of circumvented back to mental health, like with the kids and different things like that, the bullying aspect, the violence in Chicago. Shoot, you can even use the Epstein, pedophilia. That's mental illness. So let's talk about it today. Let's look at I found some interesting statistics that we'll look at real quick. So I went over the quick facts, just a few statistics. You guys had a chance to read it. Get into it, Rashawn, a little bit on your thoughts about the whole mental health crisis. I mean, in the U.S., because it's, in my opinion, we are at a crisis, because if you think about it, not only the stuff we talk about, you have we're starting school now. You have to worry about school shootings. You have to worry about grocery store stabbings. It's a lot of crashing out going on. So
Yeah, absolutely.
and and that has to be attributed to the mental health of this country as a whole. So if you want to get into your opinion on the subject, and we'll go from there.
Well, so I was checking out some of the stats that you had, and it kind of struck me. 1 in 5 U.S. adults, which comes out to about 50 million people, they experience mental illness each year, and then 1 in 6 U.S. youth experience mental health disorders annually. There's also over 11 million adults in the U.S. that have serious mental illness. Only less than 50%, so 47.2 of U.S. adults with mental illness actually receive any type of treatment. 70% of the youth in the juvenile justice system have at least one mental health condition. But the big one to me was suicide is the second leading cause of death for people ages 10 to 34 in the U.S. Now, that to me is very striking. It kind of hit me, to be honest with you. So it kind of had me look to see, why is that? Why is it so bad here in the U.S.? And I found some interesting things. One of the biggest things is the barriers in the U.S. U.S. adults, they are more likely to seek professional help, but they face quite a few barriers. 15% can't even afford to get help when distressed. And 11% of adults with mental health conditions lack health insurance. So insurance is a huge issue with that, because insurance doesn't really look at mental health in the context that it really needs to. There's also workforce shortages. The U.S. has a lower supply of mental health professionals. There's only 105 per 100,000 people, compared to countries like Canada, Switzerland, Australia, which have roughly double that. And I could personally, say that that's true. Personally, I feel like, at birth, to be honest with you, when you get your social security number, you should also be assigned a therapist. But that's just my personal opinion. Um, So there's a lot of barriers out there. There's the stigma behind mental health that is also attached to it that kind of keeps people from getting the help that they need to as well. But I think the biggest barriers is cost, lack of professionals, and the fact that our insurance companies don't really, pay for the type of treatment that we need when it comes to our mental.
Hmm. What you think about it, Sal?
Well, I know, mental health don't discriminate, gender, age, or color. And it's also not about, I know people misunderstand too or mistakenly think that it's about how happy or sad we are, when really, you know, I checked out the World Health Organization and had brought out how mental health is a state of well-being. It's in which, a state of which how a person feels his or her own abilities and cope with the natural stresses of life, something like that. But anyway, the parts of that stuck out to me was realizing our own abilities and being able to cope with the normal stresses in life, because this life that we live in right now is not normal, so it's not, it's not weird for people to experience some type of mental illness right now.
Yeah, and honestly, and to take it one step further, I kind of looked into this too. In the black community, a lot of things that I saw when I was looking up, what it's like for our people. There's a stigma of silence. Mental health issues are often stigmatized. They're looked at as weak. You looked at it as weak,
Hmm.
and it leads to underreporting and lack of open for discussion. There's again the barrier, access to barriers, but that's due to systemic racism, lack of insurance, fewer culturally competent providers. Then there's also in the black community, but rightfully so, in a way, is the mistrust of the medical system. I mean, we have historical abuses. I mean, think of the Tuskegee study, and that fostered a lot of distrust in healthcare and mental health services. One of the other things that I noticed is that there's the underdiagnosis and misdiagnosis. Black individuals, we're more likely to be misdiagnosed or have symptoms overlooked or labeled differently. Lots of times when a black child has mental health issues, they're just looked at as being bad. That they're not, people don't look into it as, it's not a mental health issue. They're black. They're just bad. They're just a bad kid. So they get missed, and misdiagnosed. Yeah, it's definitely a crisis. It's something that needs to be addressed, and hopefully, we can get some of these answers out here and have a good conversation on this. I'm looking forward to this.
All right. Well, I'm about to get a little controversial on y'all. Okay, so you know how when I was talking with our special guest Shag about the cyberbullying, and we were talking about I told them the story about the kid, the girl who thought she was a cat.
Hmm.
So her thinking she's a cat is a sign of mental illness, right? But we're feeding into that more now as a society, and we're not treating the problem. Like instead of treating her for mental illness, we would rather, as a society, embrace her being a cat. And and going over a lot of these statistics, the highest rate of mental illness, no matter what race you are, is being part of the elemental PQT community. And that's because, once again, you're outside of the norms of society. So I say that to say, like, if you're going to go outside the norms of society, you have to be ready for the fight. Like, you can't, I want to put it in regular terms. Like, you can't be weird and expect people not to say nothing about you. You know what I mean? Like, that's just going to happen. Now, what you do when they say something about you, that's on you, but like, you can't not expect it. or be offended that it happens because you're outside of that norm. That's what I'm in. So I'm saying, why not treat those individuals outside of the norm instead of trying to change the norm? Because changing the norm that's where you're seeing this like explosion in our society. Like you've never seen kids. I mean, kids died at school or people got shot at school, but it was like gang beefs. It wasn't just a kid coming to school just spraying up a bunch of people he didn't even know. You got that now, and it's not like one incident, two incidents. It's not a Columbine thing. It's a way more common thing than that. Like you got tens of multiple instances where you could use an example of a school shooting now. It's not just Columbine. Like back when I was a kid, well, I mean, I was actually grown in Columbine, but what I'm saying is that's all you could refer to. You didn't have a bunch of references to, kids just going to the school and crashing out. And that's what I'm saying. I think that when people decide to go outside the norm, if they're not prepared, if they don't have that strength to go through the battles that they're going to go through, fighting against the norm, then they should seek help to maybe help them. Maybe we should try to help them there before they even, get to that point. If you guys can understand what I'm saying in any type of way. I'm not,
help them how, Charles?
That's what I'm saying. With some type, like wherever you were going to go with their help, once they get ready to commit suicide or something like that, use that before they get to that point when they decide, okay, I'm a dog. I think I'm a dog. When they start talking and thinking they're a dog, instead of embracing, oh yeah, you got a right to be a dog, and instead of doing that, go try to get them some help then. Don't let them go through. No, hold on. Listen. Don't let them go through. Go outside, talk about their dog. Everybody laugh at them, talk about them, tease them, and then they want to kill themselves. Don't let it get to that. Get it before there.
This guy started a few years ago, or however many years ago. It was some time ago. This guy started where it was talk like if between the kids, and let's say it was a basketball team, a football team, kids football or something. So one football team, it's going to be some winners and it's going to be some losers. So now this came about, I believe the first time was when they decided that the football team who won got the pizza and they got they got the trophy and this and that. But then the football team that lost, they also was able to, partake of the same. And it's like, so right there, it was almost like, look, somebody got to be the loser. So I relate that to what you're saying here. Like, if you're not teaching your kid,
and I agree with that too.
You're not teaching your kid that you're not gonna win everything. You're not gonna be right all the time. You know what I'm saying? And there is a mental standard here. You know what I mean? Like I said on the other day, it's okay if we're doing these things at home, but then if we're not, breaking the barrier mentally with our child, even if it's our friend, you know what I'm saying? Because there's some adults out here that's doing the same thing, identifying as whatever they want to identify as. And if we doing that as friends, but man, you're not going to do that with me in the gas station, Joe. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing that.
So okay. You said a lot, Charles. So I don't think comparing someone that thinks they're a cat or a dog in the LGBT community is a good comparison, man. I mean, okay, so are you telling me that the LGBTQ community that's a mental illness and that needs to be addressed? Is that what you're saying? I just want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, because I do feel like somebody that thinks they're a cat, a dog, or something like that is a mental illness. You know what I mean? I get that part.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in before Charles real quick, man? I had wanted to add too, though, man, that I think this is a subject that everybody can relate to, individually. Whether something you might be going through personally, or maybe you've seen it at work, or you've seen it amongst your family and friends. But these are things where, where a person can reach a certain point where they might not know how to deal with, these different things such as depression, stress, anxiety, PTSD, and some of them that we always discuss narcissistic personality disorder, but there's a couple of them that rarely get discussed. Is some other smaller disorders. I'm not gonna say they're smaller, but eating disorder, bipolar disorder, and the list goes on. But my point is that, you never know how, and even if it is the community that you just said, and that's why I wanted to jump in, because you can't, if a person is dealing with something, it's hard to say what a person uses for an outlet without a therapist. That's,
I feel that.
Now, I'll answer your question, Sean.
Please
Yes,
do.
I do feel like it's a mental illness.
So,
I
you
do.
think that you think homosexuality is a mental illness?
I think that
Wow.
the transsexuality, you think so? Okay, okay, and I'm gonna use you as an example, but don't take it like I'm saying you like that. Okay,
I
so
would say
okay,
I think
let's say you're a what's the proper term for a transformer?
a transgender
What's
person, Charles. A transgender
okay,
person.
okay. Yeah, I
Transsexual
just want to make
person.
sure I get it
Okay.
right.
God
Okay.
damn it, Charles.
I just want to make sure I get it right. Okay. So you're a transgender, right?
Right.
I'm looking at you right now. You're a bald head black dude, but you want to tell me you're a black woman, and I'm looking at you. I've seen you with pretty much all your clothes off, all the hair everywhere, and you still want to tell me you're a woman. Like, who's crazy? I mean, not well. Who's mentally ill, me or you?
Do you know any
If I'm
transgender?
if I'm thinking if I have to, if you want me to conform to your form of thinking where you're a girl, and I'm looking at you right now, and see plain as day you're not a girl, then you're trying to say that you're mentally fit, and I'm just I wouldn't under, you don't feel like that's mentally not right.
No, I don't. Do you know any transgender people?
A few.
Okay. And when you see them, do you talk to them like this, or do you just like, hey, you know what I mean? Because it costs you nothing to use whatever pronouns or whatever they want to use. It's not conforming to me. It's just being polite. I mean, everybody has
I've never
pronouns.
been in a situation where I've had to like call them whatever.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I grew up I grew up with a kid, right? And we all knew he was gay. You know what I mean? But we reconnected maybe I want to say about 3 years ago. He hit me up on Facebook, and I didn't know who it was because it was this female hitting me up, and she was like, "You probably don't remember me," and I'm like, "No, I don't." Well, I'm such and such. I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here!" And you would have never known in a million years. You know what I mean? That was her because he's a her now. You know what I mean? But she is now. I gotta say, I'm so proud of her because she is one of the biggest advocates for her community. She does a lot for Black people and everything like that, and she's happy. You know what I mean? And that to me, that's all that matters. And would I think that she has some type of mental illness? No, not at all. That's who she is, and that's she is a she. That's exactly what it is. And to me, the problem, the reason why you see higher suicide rates and mental health issues in the LGBT community isn't because they have a mental illness. It's because of the community that's around them. I mean, they get social rejection from their family, their friends, which leads to isolation. They experience bullying, harassment,
Because
violence.
they're committing the biggest sin ever. They're saying
but
that
see,
God made a
see,
mistake.
That's not a sin though, man.
not, 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 not,
Homosexuality and everything like that's been around since the Bible, man. It's been around since the
And it
beginning of
was a
man.
sin in the Bible when it was around.
I ain't trying to hear about the Bible, man. It's a sin to wear a fucking suit with like lapels is a sin in the Bible. Fuck that shit, man. You know what I mean? You can't. That's what we should be playing football then because it's a sin to handle pork. You can't eat shrimp. That's a sin too. So fuck all that, man. That don't mean shit. Cut the Bible out of there. In the history of man, homosexuality, transgenders, all that has been in there because it's been a spectrum. Not everybody's the same, man. And
all
so,
right, so,
oh, go
all
ahead. I'm
right,
sorry.
so, all right, so, I just want to add in where Chuck was coming from with this, and for people who believe in, you know, the the Christian God, the God who created the earth and mankind and everything, the green grass, the animals, for the God who created those things and is responsible for the air that we breathe. His instruct when he created man and woman, he created us man and woman. So to fast forward, that's where Chuck was going with this. So as far as the mental illness is where the mental illness comes in with that is that most people do or will consider that to be a mental illness because you're going against how you was created, and in order for you to go against the grain in some way, it more or less could be said, you know, you know, I know
You got a
mental
big
illness.
ass slong dude in front of me, man. You 12 inches talking about you a girl.
So
Dude, your
so so
slong is bigger than
so
mine. What are you
so
talking about?
so going off that then. So you saying God don't make mistakes?
Well, see, that's where I'm glad you said that also, because not to make this a biblical topic, but it is important to say or always remember that that's why Sodom and Gomorrah, that's where Sodom and Gomorrah came in, because that was again they were doing things that was against the
But
grain.
but does God make mistakes? Does he
No,
make
we
mistakes?
make mistakes. He gave us instructions. Look, like they say the Bible,
So
Bible, basic instructions before
since
leaving
before I
Earth.
leave
He
Earth, yeah.
gave
See,
us he
you can
gave
you
us
can get
instructions. The
scientific with
people
it
that
too.
went
You
against those instructions, there's always been some type of consequences. You know what I'm saying? And
So
you
so do you believe that dinosaurs roamed the Earth at one time? Both of y'all. Do y'all believe dinosaurs
yeah,
existed?
yeah,
yeah, I do.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
And you can get
I think so.
scientific
well,
too.
hold
If you're a dude,
on, let me
if
just, let
you're
me
a
just
dude
make my
and
point.
you
Let me just
believe
make
you're
my
a
point.
girl,
Let me
it's
just
just
make
a
my point.
mistake.
So
Hold
so
on.
so
If you're a girl and you believe, I mean, you're a dude and you believe you're God made a mistake or whatever, and you're really supposed to be a girl. You were a girl at one time. You turned into a dude. We're all
so
girls that form into dudes.
so
Any guy
so
was a girl at one time, and he changed into a dude in the womb.
so
So
so so,
all that
so
mistake shit that's
it's
irrelevant. Whether you
it's
call
not
it God,
relevant.
nature,
It's
whatever.
I
not
want to hear
relevant.
what bro finna say. Hold, let him let
Not
him.
It's
irrelevant, y'all.
science.
No, it's not irrelevant. You said God. You said that God don't make mistakes, right? And so
I didn't say that.
you said, okay, hold
No,
on. But I
I
asked you,
never.
okay. So I asked you, hey, do you believe in dinosaurs? You said, yeah. So when God created the earth, you know what I mean? He created everything, right? He created the earth, the moon. That's what y'all believe, right? But there was dinosaurs roaming the earth. But he was like, fuck it, man. I fucked up, man. Let me go ahead and just meteor that, and now let me put humans there. Was dinosaurs a mistake? Was that a mistake? You know what I
Well,
mean? Like, come on.
the dinosaur, well, as the story goes, like I say, for people that believe in that particular God who created everything, he had gave everybody the story as far as how, his sons came, he had some angels that came down, they made it with the women, I said made it. They had relations with the women, you know what I'm saying? And then from those things, then that's how we got, because God didn't necessarily create dinosaurs, you know what I'm saying? But from the angels when they came down and started, because after they ran through all the people, they started turning on themselves and turning on the animals, um, and then that's how we start having all these strange animals and strange, because it's bones of like if you see some of the, I was just talking to somebody the other day about petrified giants and petrified animals, and things like that. I went down that rabbit hole. And I promise, if you go down that rabbit hole, and if you're a truther and you go down that rabbit hole, everything is going to lead you back to that particular God.
I guess my problem with when people try to throw the Bible in and everything like that, and try to use the Bible against homosexuality, and that's the reason for treating homosexuals bad, or thinking that they some sort of strange mistake or something like that, is that those same people forget the basic law, the biggest law in the Bible, which is treat others the way you'd want to be treated. That's the biggest law in the Bible, right? Treat others the way you want to be treated. To me, that's what
Mhm.
it is. That's the biggest message out there to me. So, you know what I mean? It costs you nothing. Like, who cares if you see a guy, if you see somebody that was once a man that used to be a female, and sit in a dress or something like that? Why does that bother you so much? Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? They happy in their own skin. Why do you care? You know, like I don't understand why people
See,
care so much about
you
that
got
shit.
it wrong. You
And that's
got it
the-
wrong.
wait. And that's not,
For
and
me to
that's,
think it's wrong, doesn't mean I'm caring so much. I think it's wrong. There's no problem with that. I ain't gotta say shit to you when you sit down next to me with a cock in
right.
between your legs and a dress on. Who
That's my
cares?
point. That's my
But
point.
what you asked me, did I think it was right or wrong? I said
No,
I think it's wrong. I think you got a mental
that's
problem.
cool.
Yes.
You could do that. You can have that, but you keep that to yourself, right? Like you don't have to treat them any different. You can show them respect, right? You
Who
can
did I
show
treat
them respect.
different?
Right.
Who did I not show mutual respect to?
What your whole
I
thing is
still, I thought
your
the
whole
whole
premise in the
statement I
beginning.
made doesn't change,
Your whole premise in the beginning is like I shouldn't have to conform. I shouldn't have to do this. People shouldn't have to. You know what I mean?
I shouldn't.
You
Like if
should.
you come to me,
You should.
if let me put it to you this way: if a transformer comes to me and they say, "Am I a man or a woman?" and they got a penis between their legs, bro, they a dude.
Calling them a
And if
transformer
you're offended if I'm calling you a dude, cut your boy off, get you the
right.
female parts, and then I'll start calling you a female.
And here's the thing, man. This is why, and you're part of the
You
problem.
feel it's that serious.
Since we doing mental health, this is part of the reason, and you're part of the problem why that community has such a high mental health rate.
Okay,
It's
so I
because
should
people
look at
like you.
penises and call dudes girls.
Nobody,
And I'm
you
not,
look
and I'm ain't something mentally
at
wrong with me.
what are you doing looking at dicks, man? Why are you looking at somebody's penis, man? What are you doing looking at dicks? I don't look at nobody's dick. I don't be staring at nobody's dick. I don't be looking to see what they got. Why are you?
I mean, that's funny and all, but it's not. This
You
is irrelevant
you
to the
said
real
it.
world.
You
It's
said it.
irrelevant to the real world.
That was
you
your
wanna
word.
you want to know something I want to bring up
You
to
act
you real
like I'm
quick?
out here transformer hunting or something. I'm not, bro. I'm not.
But the fact that you call them transformers is this reason. You're the reason why they suffer the way that they suffer. You're
Okay,
the reason why they have
no,
the mental issues that they have.
because the name changes every few days. Every time they feel
It
like
don't
it's
change.
different, it's different.
Don't change, man. The respect don't
Okay,
change.
so what was they first called? What did we
Hey
used to
man,
call?
I don't know, Sean, because see, this is one of those things like,
The
you know,
transvestite. I don't understand what's wrong with transvestite, but evidently
Ain't
that's
no wrong with it. Nobody's saying you can't say that.
where did transgender come from?
Why didn't you just say transvestite or transgender? Why you got to be transformed?
We used to say transgender. I mean transvestite, but
You can still say
that became politically incorrect.
I don't know about that.
not since your boy got back in office.
And that was
What? Your boy, you know what I'm saying?
Hey man, look, I don't want to go too deep into this, man. We obviously see two different ways on this one, man. I'm never going to agree with you on this one.
yeah.
Tyler.
I believe if I'm looking at something that's an orange and you try to tell me to say it's an apple, something wrong with you, and I'm seeing an orange, then I'm gonna call it an orange.
I
You
just
can
think,
call it
man,
an apple, or you can think it's an apple all you want to.
I just think you can
If your
think.
mind register that, that's cool.
I just think that you know what I mean. That you can say whatever it is, and you can keep that to yourself, and that you can still show them the respect that they deserve. That's my point.
Well, I feel like this.
You can see what you see. You can say what you say in your head, but you don't need to say nothing to them and just show them respect, man. They people too.
But, dude, first of all, it's not about respect or not respect. It's about what you feel you are impressing that on to me.
Nobody's impressing it on you. You,
If
Charles.
you get offended, listen to what I'm saying. If I'm looking at you right now and you are identifying as a woman, but I'm looking at you and I see a dude and I treat you as such and I talk to you as such and you get offended, that's on you, Rashawn. That's on you.
That's exactly why they have the issues that they have, is because of people like you. That's why they struggle with the mental health issues. That's why they have some depression. It's because people like you, Charles. You don't see that, and it costs you nothing to call somebody that you can see. It costs you that kindness costs you nothing. How is that hurting you at all? If somebody wants to be called she, who fucking cares? You're gonna call them something anyway. Who cares? Just hey, she, her, hey, how you doing, girl? I don't give a fuck. Why? How's that hurting you at anyway?
Hey, but you know that's a lot of.
How's it hurting him? How's it hurting him?
I'm glad you said that too. I'm glad you said that too, Sean, because since that does go along with this as well as far as mental health. See, now you putting the pressure on me. You know what I'm saying? So you putting the pressure on me to go along with this. And I don't have just the same way as you, just the same way as you saying, kind of, why a person just can't just go along with it. Why do I would say the same thing. Why do I have to go along with it? You know what I mean?
Me too.
Like,
That's what I
if
feel.
I'm telling you, I don't play that game, then don't expect me to play that game. Because truthfully, that's a lot of mental pressure to put on somebody else, male or female. And I'm gonna tell
You
you the
can go
truth
home
too.
and me
Here's the
out
thing,
all you
Sean.
want to.
Here's the thing. Here's how I'm finna make you know it's real, Sean. Here's how I'm finna make you know it's real.
Okay.
So
Okay.
say all of us guys outright, all of us guys, well, 98% of the guys, are interested in, let's say a threesome. Man, let's say,
Not me, baby. I don't know what he's talking about.
It's his girl, his wife about to watch this shit.
I don't know what
they all
he's
made me
talking
forget
about,
what I was
baby.
finna say, man.
Hey, Charles, like, hold on.
Baby, he was smoking the best drugs.
Hey,
That's what he was.
Me neither, baby. Me neither. About
Right, you
y'all
gonna
made
have
me
her
cough.
come out the room on me, homie. What is you talking about right now?
Babe, I don't know what he mean. I don't know what he talking about, girl.
I need a
I
different
forgot.
example.
I forget it's married men
What
out
the
there. You know what I'm
hell?
saying? I just be talking, man. I forget it's married men out there.
Hey, but for real though, man. I do feel that it's a good conversation, man. I don't think that we'll agree on a lot of that
But
stuff.
look,
LGBT.
I'm about to
But
let me see if I can pull it up.
okay.
Well, while he pulling that up, here's what I was finna say, Sean. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? While he pulling that up, you know what I'm saying? Say most men would expect most women to go along with that. And my point is that I know some women that wouldn't go along with that. And it was what they said. It was the way they said it, about how they felt about it. It was unlike, what most women nowadays, the things that they into. You know what I'm saying? So, that's like, I mean, the pressure of my point is putting that type of pressure on somebody else if that's not what they agree with. That's my point. You know
I
what I'm
feel you.
saying? Just
No, I
because
feel you.
other people is going along with it, and I brought up the threesome and the woman thing because that's something that's relevant and that's going on right now. But you can't expect every man or woman to go along with it. And most men, approach women about something like that, and they might roll with it. But then, you got some women, man, that are outright offended. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so once again, putting that type of pressure on somebody else about things like that, you know what I'm saying? That truthfully, for someone who does not believe in that, it causes that person a level of mental stress the alphabet community person wouldn't believe. But they don't understand that because they not, because they on the other side of the situation.
I can honor that. I can honor that perspective. I think it's a good
Look
way.
at the screen, guys. Look at the screen.
Okay.
Annual prevalence of mental illness among U.S. adults by demographic group. It goes through everybody: Asian, white, black, Hawaiian. But if you look at the bottom, the highest one by far, which basically doubles everything else, is lesbian, gay, or bisexual.
Yeah, because of people like you, Charlo.
Oh, don't blame it on me, man.
Blame it on you, man.
See that goes right back to my point of what I was saying in the bully episode, dude.
But you the
Am I being
can't
cyber bullied right now? I'm being cyber bullied.
Bully right now. You the bully.
You can't like do weird stuff and then be mad because people calling you weird. Like you got to be like I understand and it's people that's very individualistic. They own person, but a lot of them people that I see, they be strong. They be mentally strong because they know. I mean, they know people are going to think of a different way about them because they're going against the grain. They're prepared for that. And what I was saying, like in the beginning, is if you're going to do that, whether it be, the way you dress, whatever it is, if you're going to do something outside the norm, then you have to prepare yourself or it's up to your family or whatever to prepare you for that. Like you can't just expect society to change and be balking, at everybody. Oh man, I know he got a penis, but no, man, he thinks he's a girl, so you should respect that and call him a girl. Nah, man, I'm looking at a penis, bro. I don't know any girls with penises.
Charlie, where you be looking at all these penises, man? Just leave the genitalia alone, man.
Charlo.
Who fucking cares, man?
Man,
Charlie be like, I be looking at the penises.
you got to.
You don't though, but you don't. Like,
Okay,
let
okay.
them be. Let them be. I'm not looking at nobody's junk, man. Hey, you do you. And if you want to wear a dress, you want to wear a dress.
It's not
That's on
about
you.
letting them be. I'm telling them to let me be.
Nobody's.
Do you? Because listen, we make laws about this stuff, and it's really ridiculous because, like, if you're a gay person or bisexual, whatever you are, that's only in your bedroom. When you come outside, you're a human being. So what are we making laws because of who you sleep with?
Because you still gay when
Because
you
you
come
sleep
outside.
with another. Yeah, that's on you. But what does that have to do with outside? Gay is sleeping with another man or a woman sleeping with another woman. So when you come outside, like when I come outside, who I slept with don't have nothing to do with nothing. They don't make no laws according to who I slept with in my bedroom. So why is it because you slept with a dude in your bedroom, you need a special law?
I mean, there's special laws for everything. There's special laws for.
That's another thing. What I'm saying, intruding on me, intruding on
No.
me.
There's special laws for. I mean, what do you think that affirmative action was for us and women? You know what I mean? Those are special laws made for us because we're marginalized people that
Man,
didn't get the fair
don't
shot like we were supposed to.
do
But
it.
hell,
Don't do that. Don't do
that's the
that's
truth.
the
It's the
most
truth. It's the
no,
truth.
bro. That's the most
That- that-
cockamamie thing.
You
I
know
hate
what
it
I
when
want to bring
black
up,
dudes
man?
compare being black to being
I'm
gay.
not
That's
comparing
what
black
you're
to being
doing.
gay.
Yes,
I'm talking about the laws, Charles. I'm not saying being black and being gay is the same thing. I'm talking about the laws. There's special laws for people, for different people, for marginalized people. We have special
yeah.
laws. We do, don't we? Yes. I'm not saying black and gay is something to be comparable to at all.
Why do I even have to know? Why do I even have to know you're gay?
What do you mean? They ain't.
Why do
What do
I
you mean?
have to know you're gay?
Because you
It's
don't.
just you sleeping with another dude. Why do I have to know?
Okay.
If I'm married, bro, I sleep with girls. You don't know that. Like, you don't, like, it's not a pronounced thing. I don't go out. I'm not trying to get a law made. Like, look, I sleep with, this particular type of girl. Can I get a type of law made? Because other dudes don't like fat chicks, but I like them. You know what I'm
But
saying? Can I get, man, come on, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, when you in a room sleeping with another dude, cool. You open your front door, get in your car, drive to your job. What law do you need specially
Because
for
people
you now?
discriminate against them just as they discriminate against black people, wouldn't give them a job. So yeah, they have laws to help them so they
What
wouldn't get discriminated
do
for a job,
do
man.
people just look at him and look at you and say, "Oh, you just came from another dude house,
No,
getting banged on."
they look at them like you're gay and I'm not gonna give you the job, and that's wrong. That's
How can
discrimination.
you look at somebody like that, guy?
What do you mean? You can't tell gay people? You can't tell when somebody's gay?
But you know something too, Sean.
When they
Hey,
flaming and out there trying to, like
hey,
dude,
Sean.
it's plenty of gay people that act normal, just a normal, and like if he didn't tell me he was gay, I wouldn't know he was gay. All that flaming hot, Tootsie Roll, gayness, that's on them. You out there flaming and flagging, and that's your right, but be prepared for the backlash you're gonna get with that. Like, it's plenty of dudes, it's plenty of women that are gay, and you wouldn't know it. Because they ain't got to go outside and be like, hey, I'm gay. I need special treatment because I'm gay. What you do in your bedroom requires no special treatment, bro. Because you want to take it up to Duke shoot, bro. That's on you. You should not get no special laws or nothing for that. That's crazy.
What were you gonna say, SL?
I wanted to bring up, regardless of whatever.
My mental health is gone right now.
Regardless of whatever community a person is representing, man. I wanted to bring up that mental health is one of the biggest causes of divorce, because any one of us at any time can be caught in a moment of weakness. We could have a physical or verbal outburst that come from fears of being pushed back towards maybe traumas, that we've had that have not been healed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think once again, look, if you see a person is having a bad moment, a bad day, or they're stressed out or something, if you really love that person, I think that's the wrong time to get loud and try to win a pointless argument, in a conversation. Why not just get a person 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, and maybe sometimes, um, you know, accept your
No,
wrong sometimes, accept your
yeah,
wrong sometimes because, once again, we talking about mental health and people with pride and narcissistic personality disorder. And some of these other disorders will prevent a person from, being honest. Like I had one of my friends tell me that I watched this woman. I watched this woman sacrifice her whole family because she just didn't want to be honest about something that her baby's father already knew about, you know? And it's like, he wasn't tripping, he just asked, he just wanted her just to be honest. But because she lied, she lost her family. So then later on, she came and told me how I couldn't just stand there and look weak. I was like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? So you
right.
didn't want to look weak, so you lost your family? That was dumb, you know? You know, so mental
No,
health is it is real, man. Like if a person could, like if she would sacrifice her family for not wanting to look weak, so whatever it was that she didn't want to experience at that moment, however stupid it might be to us in the public, to that person at that time, it was real. It was that real. You know what I'm saying? It was
yeah,
that real.
no. Mental health is I agree with you. It's definitely real. I mean, it's one of the things that I had kind of so when COVID first happened, you know, so anyway, so I had my own mental health. Like, I had to go see a therapist, long story short, but that was something I never thought I'd ever do. But so, COVID happened and you had all the death and the doom. People were dying. You were isolated. You couldn't go outside. You had to wear a mask. You were scared 6 feet away. That was, it's called, micro traumas or something like that. Little things were happening, over and over. Then I had somebody really close to me, attempt suicide attempt. And so that was really rough on me. And then finally the straw that kind of broke the camel's back was my oldest son in 2021, he passed. And so I didn't realize, that I was dealing with a mental health issue at that time. But a good friend of mine, a doctor of mine, he saw me and he was just kind of like, you should seek out therapy. I'm like, nah, I'm a man, I'm a man. I can handle this, I just got to fight through it. I got this. But I mean, the crazy thing about it was when I finally got the therapist out, she was a white lady, and we did through online. It was through Zoom because it was during the COVID period, and she started talking to me, and she would ask me questions. She was like, because first I had to tell her like physically I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, but I'm going to the bathroom all the time. I don't understand why. And she was like, okay, well, first, your body's in what's called fight or flight mode. I'm like, what's that? She said, okay, out in the wild, when animals are getting chased, like a lion's chasing a gazelle, they might release everything in their body that they can.
Hmm.
They'll shit or they'll piss because it makes them faster. She said, that's what you're feeling right now. That's fight or flight mode. She said, that's why your body's doing that. She said also, you're suffering from, because I didn't go outside. Like every time I went outside, I felt this pressure in my chest, right? And she said that's social and generalized anxiety. That's what you have. But what really got me was she said you're also suffering from PTSD. I'm like, well, I've never had anything traumatic happen to me. And she was like, okay. She said, well, tell me a little bit about, growing up. Did you ever have the police? Did you ever get pulled over by the police? Did you ever have a gun pulled out on you? I was like, well, yeah, that's normal though. I've had that happen several times to me. She said, Sean, that's not normal. She said, that's what you call micro trauma. I'm like, what's micro trauma? She said, you get little bitty traumas called micro traumas. She said, so you got to think a man pulled out a gun, an instrument that could take your life at you. She said, that's traumatic. It might need to be a big trauma, but it's a micro trauma. Now you build those up over time, it becomes PTSD. And she said, how many other times? So there was a whole bunch of things she went through that I didn't realize were considered microtrauma. She said, you suffer from PTSD. And then she gave me help, tools, how to battle it and everything like that. But it changed my entire view on therapy at that moment because I didn't realize how much I needed it and how much it helped. I feel like I'm a better person. And honestly, if I could, I would have a therapist right now if my insurance paid for it or I had some sort of plan like that because I can't tell you how much it helps just to talk to somebody or have somebody just listen to you and tell you that you're not fucking crazy, and there's other people out in the world that are going through the exact same thing, having those feelings that you're having, and that this is normal, and we can help you with it. It probably saved my life, saved my marriage, saved all my relationships with my kids and everything like that. I put my kids in it too after my boy died, and it helped them too. So I say that to say that when we go to the doctor, we typically think of doctors for our physical, but really, man, our mental is just as important as our physical, and lots of times they're tied together in such a way that they affect each other. And yeah, so I just wanted to put that story out there real quick. Uh, you know, therapy is a good thing.
Cool, but you
Pretty
hit
cool,
on the
man.
point
Cool.
that I think is another problem. Like I said, my first thing is we're not getting these kids early enough. If you look at the statistics I read at the beginning of the show, it said most of the time your mental illness is diagnosed by 14, can be diagnosed. It's ugly head is in there by 14. So I think getting them early, but also we have to come up with a plan as a country because, like I said, all this widespread shooting and you know killing sprees of people you don't know, that's definitely mental illness because you don't even have ill will towards these people and you picking them off. You know what I
No,
mean? Like if you look at those mass murders, they didn't know those people. So I mean, to take that many lives of people you don't know, that's a mental illness. But like you said, Sean, a lot of these insurance companies don't cover this. They don't cover you just saying you feeling a little off today. You might need to see a psychiatrist. They don't cover that type of stuff. And I'm gonna go a little bit into my personal. Um, Both my brothers have mental. Well, one is still alive. He had mental illness, and the other one that's passed had mental illness. Now, the way it works is, I know in Illinois, you can't really get any help, insurance or otherwise, until they either try to hurt themselves or they hurt somebody else. Until that happens, ain't nothing shaking. And that's the problem too. Why should somebody have to get hurt, be it the person who's mentally ill or somebody else, before you can take action? That's and it goes into that insurance thing. It's a whole game, a whole scam. And I think that if they did include it on a lot of insurance, it would get used up, and that's what they're afraid of
and
because they see that too.
I agree. And I wanted to tell you something real quick. I didn't mean to interrupt. So Illinois this past year, they put a new program in where it's a law mandating annual mental health screenings for students in grades 3 through 12. Now, I mean, parents can opt out if they want to, but the screenings will commence on the 2027-28 school year. Mandatory grades are all public school students, 3 through 12, will undergo a screening. The screenings will be provided at no cost to school districts. Um, the Illinois Board of Education is collaborating with the Children's Behavioral Health Transformation Team. Will develop a procedure materials for the screenings. There's confidentiality of data. There's going to be support services, and I think that's exactly this is a pioneering law that started here in Illinois, and I hope it's something that goes more widespread throughout the country, which would probably help. Like you were saying, it doesn't get caught in time, but now something like this would help with those children, where you could be like, okay, my 9-year old is exhibiting some sort of mental health issues that I just didn't think was. As parents, we don't know. We're not psychiatrists and psychologists, you know what I mean? But I think this is a great program to maybe like head off some of the stuff that you're talking about there, Charles, in Illinois. You know what I mean? I hope to see it go nationwide.
Yeah, Illinois, as far as mental health, man, Illinois is they're terrible. You know what I mean? Like I said, unless you hurting somebody or hurting yourself, they really don't have nothing for you.
No, it's awful, man. Another thing. Oh, go ahead, SL. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Do your thing, bro. Do your thing.
Another thing that I kind of like that's happening too, and I'm just gonna bring this up real quick, is that because there is a shift where you're seeing more and more people talk about therapy more in the open. But one of the biggest shifts that I'm seeing lately is in the hip hop community. You know what I mean? And I think that's a huge deal because it's getting out. Because who listens to it? I mean, yeah, I listen to hip hop, but I mean, the youth listens to it. So you got people like probably our age, Jay-Z. He talked about going to therapy, called therapy a sign of strength. Kendrick Lamar came out with that whole album, Mr. Morale, the Big Steppers, which was like heavily centered on therapy. Kid Cudi, Logic, Tyler the Creator. I mean, there's some other ones out there. Big Sean, Joe Budden. They all talk about therapy, and it's a conversation that's becoming more and more open within our community and with our children. That'll erase some of the stigma about going to go seek help, because I think before it used to be looked at as a sign of weakness, and that was wrong, and that's why a lot of our children were doing what Charles would say was like the crash out. You know what I mean? Because they weren't seeking out or even trying or even thinking they needed any type of therapy for the issues that were going on in their life. And I'm happy to see
Crash out, kids.
that.
Hey man, I'm glad you brought that up, man, because it was a dating show that came out. I know everybody watched that 20v1 with the guys and
Yeah.
the girls who had 20. So anyway, man, real quick, before we get up out of here, man, I had wanted to bring up how I'm glad you brought that up, bro, because we do need older people in our community to show that it's cool and there's nothing wrong with going to therapy and seeking help, even if we feel like we do, whether we need it or not. But if we feel that we do, there's nothing wrong with that. So what happened was the lady had went to therapy and the man had went to therapy too, but they both didn't know each other had went to therapy. But through, the conversation and the talking, once that man found out that woman had went to therapy, man, he didn't even want to see the rest of the women. You know what I mean? Because he understood that woman was willing to accept help. You know what I mean?
Land that plane, that's still land that plane.
Yeah, man. I thought that.
I got it.
Yo, that's all I wanted to say, man.
No, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
But that's dope.
No, mental health is real, folks. We could talk about mental health. I mean, every episode, every day. It never runs out. But it is becoming a big problem in the country right now. We got to do something about it. Everybody's got a voice. Everybody's got to start addressing it. We want to thank you for watching. Join the community. Make sure you like, subscribe to the video. Tell your friends about us, spread the word. We're trying to grow. We thank you for the subscribers that we got already. And we're going to get out of here. Sean, you got something to say?
Seek help. You know what I mean? If you feel anything, anytime you might want to hurt yourself or something like that, there's resources out there. Call somebody, talk to somebody, and get the help that you need. Please do that, because the world wants you.
Yourself?
Nah, man, I'm like you, man. Shout out to all the subscribers. Shout out to all the viewers, man. YouTube, man, they on the streets with us, man.
Yeah. All right, we out.
All right, y'all.